your girl Shantora. It has been forever, okay? So there's actually reasons why it's been forever. So I just wanted to come on here and just kind of share some of those reasons with you guys. So first off, I have been just going through a lot mentally. I had anxiety really, really, really bad. I know that I was talking about mental health and I was talking about, hey, I'm going to go try to see a counselor and, get myself together. And I did. So I'll just kind of explain the story and how that happened. And then we'll just kind of get on to following events that made it take this long for me to get back with you guys. Oh my God, this thing's like not straight. So let's get into it. So I went for a yearly pap smear, okay? And, because I ended up losing my job, they, to help you take care of those types of things. So that's how that worked out. So I went to go get my yearly pap smear, and the doctor or nurse or whatever was like asking me questions like, hey, how are you feeling? How's your mood? Just asking me all these random questions. And I just answered all the random questions the way that it was just completely honest, and I was just like, no, I'm not the happiest. I am pretty depressed. And they were just like, on a scale of 1 through 5, like, could you have a lot of interest, little interest, or not interest at all in doing things? And at that point, I'm not gonna lie, I had almost no interest in doing anything. And I think the reason for my depression is that everything was going pretty well. I had just got a promotion at my job at ACCC. And, we were moving forward. We were doing things. I got a promotion twice within the year. I had got my adjuster's license. I studied, I conquered, and I went through a lot to try to get that license. It was very, very important to me to get this license. When I first started working for ACCC, I really, really wanted to get this license. So it's like, I wanted this promotion so bad. It took me like 3 years to get this promotion. I was with the company for 5 years, I believe. Yeah, I think it's 5. So long story short, so ACCC went out of business. They called us up one morning. They said, hey, join a morning meeting, and it's not anything abnormal, but we weren't getting a lot of calls coming in at the time, and COVID happened, so we're working at home. So I call in and I'm just like, I call them up, and they had like about 5 of us in this meeting, and they're just kind of like, sorry, you guys, we kind of have to let you guys go, like, we're having a hard time right now with this company, blah, blah, blah. So they just kind of fired us. And they're like, don't worry, you'll get a severance pay. It was $1,000. And they were like, you can, use your 401k, no penalties. And I was just like a little shocked because I was like, oh my God, like, why'd I get fired? And it was everyone. And so I had to call unemployment. I had to just go through a lot, and I was already isolating myself in the house where I wasn't hanging out with any of my friends. I wasn't seeing anyone. Like, I had my boyfriend, and that was the only one I hung out with. And, I'm a very social person for the most part. I love to be social. I love to be around people. I love to talk to people. And at that moment, like, I couldn't do that anymore. So that happened instantly, and it changed my life. I had so much security with this company. I feel like we were going to make it go so far. Like, I worked so hard to be in the position that I was. I was, here I am making $30 an hour almost, having the career of my life, and it was devastating to lose that. So I kind of went into a little depression then, and I didn't really have, I did get the unemployment, and then they ended up giving me food stamps, and they ended up giving me the women's health. And so when I did that questionnaire, like I said, and my results came back that I was kind of a little higher than average on the depressive level. So I went ahead and was like, all right, they're like, do you want to see what did they say? Oh God, I can't think of the name that they called it. A counselor, pretty much. And so I was kind of like, okay, I've been talking about getting mental health together, seeing a counselor for the longest. So I went ahead and said yes, and I went to counseling. In counseling, you know, we were able to go back from when I was 4 years old till now and all the trauma I experienced. So if you guys don't know, you know, I lived in a household with an abusive stepdad, you know, and my mom was very passive about it at times. She's a great woman, but you know, like, you know, in your relationships, things are a little, you know, we all didn't realize that he was abusive. It was kind of one of those things, you know. And you know, I ended up getting molested growing up, and I ended up dealing with a lot of really messed up people throughout my life, like a lot of narcissists, a lot of people with mental disorders who were like using me, abusing me, mistreating me. And I've always been so kind to like help people and go out of my way and do all these things. So we went back through all of that in my counseling session. You know, I'm actually doing another video on my counseling session, because then from there I can maybe help you guys with what I went through the counseling that can maybe help you guys as well. So we'll just move past that. So I go to counseling, everything's okay, it's not perfect, you know. In the midst of going through counseling, you know, you start to realize where your anxieties and depressions are coming from. And my anxiety and depression was coming from people that were pretty near and dear to me. People that I thought were the closest people to me in the world is where this depression was coming from. It was so much energy, so much animosity. I was feeling so inferior to these people. Like I just, you know, I started to slowly back up. In the midst of slowly backing up, my apartment ended up flooding and my bunnies are no longer with us. My apartment's one of the bunnies chewed a hole through the wall, and they say the bunny bit a water pipe. The water pipe exploded, flooded my apartment, and flooded all my neighbors' apartments. The apartments were so sweet to go ahead and fix it and everything. It did take about 3 weeks, so I wasn't in my own apartment. And then once they fixed it, you know, I owe $2,700 on top of my rent. That was supposed to be due in $900 increments within 3 months. So that's a lot, you know what I mean? Like I literally still have not bounced back from this, you know, a depression without job. So honestly, like I just had a lot going on to where I was like, you know what, I need a break. Like, you know, and not from YouTube. You know, I love to share my experiences and, you know, and be there. But it was just a lot going on in my life. I think that mostly it was more of so going through the psychologist and getting the mental help that I needed. That was really kind of like, oh, let me back off real quick and let me just focus on getting this situated, you know. At one point in my life, I was doing so many different things at one time that I couldn't just focus on one thing and it be successful, you know. So now I'm starting to be like, all right, let me do this day, let me do that day, let me do that day. And I can tell you guys that counseling significantly helped me in so many ways, and I'm so grateful that I went. I'm so grateful. I feel like everything happens for a reason. Everything kind of led up to the point where I had the time to actually go to counseling. You know, when you're working a 9 to 5, it's kind of hard to like go to counseling and do things that I was able to do. Just because like your schedule's like all over the place, you know. I mean, your schedule's 9 to 5, but it's like you can't just take this hour off of work and stuff. Like you almost have to take the whole day, then it goes out of your PTO, your you know, like your vacation. It's like, you know, it's a little difficult when you have a job and you're trying to, you know, do things to better yourself. So I felt like that time it actually happened to where I was able to get everything that I needed situated. Mentally, I feel like mentally I am so much more at peace. I did have to alleviate people, and it's not that I don't love them. It's not that I hate them. It's not that, you know, what it is that some energies I realize are just too much for me, and I cannot deal with the energy. I have to move on. I have to like move away. Like I have to, you know what I mean? When I started to alleviate these energies out of my life, these negative energies, and not that the people are negative, but their vibe mixed with mine creates anxiety for me. So I have to move forward. Once doing that, like I've been feeling way better. And I know that God has a plan and a purpose for me, and that I am going where God wants me to go. And in the midst of getting mental help and seeking the Lord more, my eyes have been more open, and I am entirely grateful. I feel like losing my job felt like the worst thing ever, and it caused me to have depression and go through all these things that kept me from you guys. But ultimately, losing my job was almost the best thing that ever happened to me, because I was able to actually figure out what I need for me, figure out what makes me happy, figure out what I love, figure out what I cherish, figure out so many things that I wasn't able to really have the time to sit down by myself alone and figure out. I went through all this different stuff, throughout my life, and I was never able to just sit down and be like, what is going on here? Like, what can I do to better myself? A wise woman once told me that, you can love someone with all your heart and you can never see them again. Sometimes you do have to love people from a distance, and sometimes it's not best for your mentality. No matter how much it hurts, no matter how significant they are to you, sometimes your mental health and your sanity, your sanity, it means more than those relationships. And I'm not saying in a completely selfish way. It's not ever easy to let people go, but sometimes it's for the best. So losing my job, like I said, it just led to so many different things and so many different realizations, but it ultimately was the best thing that happened, and I just cannot wait to what God has in store for me. I'm starting to be more at peace with where I'm going, more at peace with how things need to happen, and more at peace with letting the Lord control the situations, and me kind of having so much trust for what God wants me to do in that moment, that I'm able to be at peace and relax and chill and not have to be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this happened, oh my God, that's happened. Like, I feel good, you guys. I do feel good. I am gonna have a story time about like what I learned in counseling, because I think it's important, and maybe I battle with depression and anxiety. Maybe it could help for you guys. I'm not sure, but hey, we have to start somewhere, you guys. We are molding our future kids. We are the future. Like, we are the people right now who is making a difference in this world. I'm talking about 21 through 30. Like, I'm not saying older's not, and I'm not saying younger's not, but I'm just saying, like, at this moment, like, people are making it happen, making that difference, getting in there, getting themselves healed, and then helping that younger generation. And then that older generation, we're feeding off of that, and we're able to mold and change things up a little bit that makes it better. I hope you guys are staying safe. Be nice to everyone everywhere. Oh my God, please be nice and please be sweet to everyone everywhere, and do things that's gonna help your sanity overall. And I love you guys. Bye.